Going on, guys? Welcome back to the MOTO 610 channel. If you didn't already check out my other videos, go ahead, check them out, get up to speed on the channel. And if you didn't see my last video, you'll notice this bike was in a few clips, but it was short-lived. And I came around the corner after it and went to get on the throttle, and it just bogged out. Back up to the garage and shut her down. But I'm thinking it's the top end. CR250R, and it's all pretty much all stock besides some the restyle kit and the pipe and the bars and some other stuff. But the motor's pretty sure it's original. I'm not 100% positive, but it definitely needed a top end. It was low compression, but I will be reviewing this bike once I rebuild this top end, so look forward for that video. On this video, we're going to be rebuilding this top end. Just hopefully the cylinder's okay, and I can just replace the piston and rings and the gaskets, and we should be good to go. What do is take off the seats, or the seat, the shroud, gas tank, and gonna pull the exhaust off. This thing apart with the metric wrench, socket set, and some basic hand tools. You can use the impact too, or the T-handles. So we'll get started. So just got the seat off. That needs a cleaning. Alright, we're going to go ahead and take these shrouds off. 8mm. Alright, so now that all that stuff's off, that comes off pretty easy. 8 and 10mm, and then these, I just use the needle nose to pull those springs off. So next we're gonna take the coolant out of this thing, and you're gonna pull your cap up like that, and then there's a little drain bolt right here. It's a 10mm, and we're gonna take that out and let the coolant drain. Alright, so next you're going to pull these radiator hoses off. There's one that goes to the top right here, and this one that comes over from this radiator just crosses over to this little T. So you're going to pull the Phillips head clamps, pull this clamp, and then pull your spark plug wire. So I already loosened them. You're going to pull that out and over, like that, and pull this one out, and just get that stuff out of the way. And then you got to loosen this clamp and pull this hose off your water pump. You're going to want to remove, there's 4 of these, 2 on each side. They're 8mm for your radiator mounts right here, which I took off. Then there's a little crossover overflow, I guess you'd call it, tube. Phillips head, pull that off, pull it to the side, and then down here is going to be another little crossover pipe which I loosened, and then you just give it a pull and then your radiator is out, and then just pull your other side off. You're gonna want to pull this mount nut and bolt out, and this bottom one, and loosen this one, and you should be able to slide this up and back and out of the way. This one, the bottom one that's actually attached to the head, is a 14. This one was on extremely tight, so if you run into that issue, just grab another wrench, one size bigger, and slide it over like that, and you should get the leverage you need to loosen this. These top two right here are going to be a 12 millimeter. So just loosen this top one and then pull this bottom one out. Pull this guy out. Flip these guys up, just like that. So next you're going to go ahead and remove this power valve cover so we can pull off the cables and the little bracket that's in there. Next you're going to take a 10 millimeter wrench and loosen these two nuts that hold these cables in. So now we're just going to loosen this 10 millimeter nut that's on this little bracket. Just 2 washers, and pull these cables out. Just put them over like that, and then pull. And that's off. Now you're gonna break loose these 12 millimeters. Once you get those off, just might take a little elbow grease, but this should just pull right off. You can tell this hasn't been off for a while, so live. Oh, there you go. Cool hole right in it. Let's hope these cylinder walls are good, and I can just slap the rebuild kit in and good to go. Put it out of the way. Grab a 14 millimeter wrench, and there's going to be 4 of these nuts that hold the cylinder on. 2 on each side, and then there's one right in here under that power valve cover. So there you go. Pulled this jug off, and as far as I can see, there's a little tiny dent right there, but I think it'll work. So we just gotta pull this piston out and we'll be ready for the rebuild. So now that's all off. We're gonna be doing the Wiseco stock bore rebuild kit. We're going to be cleaning the air filter. I gotta switch this front brake line around the other way. It was like that since I bought it. Piston out, you want to pull this little clip for the wrist pin. Pull that out. Just use a little screwdriver like this, the little point, and then you stick it right in this one, pop it out, and then you can get the rest through this hole. There's your wrist pin, piston. There's our damage, and then there's a little bearing right here. I know it's hard to see, the lighting kind of stinks in here, but all that looks okay. It's a little flooded in there, but not really anywhere. It's not too bad. Mainly, piston took a header, but I'm pretty pumped. Hopefully I can just throw this in and fires right up. Alright, so next you're gonna take this excess gasket off the cylinder, the power valve cover, and then over here on the bottom end there's a little bit left right there, so I'm going to scrape all that off with this razor blade. So next you're going to open up your top end rebuild kit. Should have piston, the wrist pin clips, piston ring, bearing, and the wrist pin, and then your gasket kit. And you're going to want to get some just regular motor oil and lube this bearing up. And then also you're going to want to take oil and go around in here, because that's going to go in like that. So next you're going to want to take your piston and take your clips out. And these are kind of tricky, but once you get those two ends in, like so, I have my thumb over it so it doesn't fly out. I'm going to take a screwdriver like this and kind of go in, just be really careful. Pry it over that edge. Alright, after 5 minutes of messing with it, I got it in. They're just a little tricky. I use a bigger flathead, and you can see it's pressed in there. And it expanded, and it's in the groove. So next you're going to want to oil this wrist pin right here, and then you'll be ready to put this piston on. There's a little arrow that's pointing forward on the piston. That has to be forward. And then I put the clip on the right side right here, and then just slide your wrist pin into this. Put the piston over the connecting rod, and the wrist pin like I had it sticking out the other side like that. So I just put it lined up the holes, and then I just press this in with my finger. You can see how it comes up against that clip I put in. I press it all the way up, and then now I'm going to go to the other side and I'm going to put the clip in like I showed you before. You don't want to put a rag around here. You don't want to drop anything down here while you're putting this clip in right here and your piston rings. So like I showed you, I just used this. I pressed it in with my thumb and held it, and then I put the tip in right here, and then prod it up like that, and it snapped right in. Next you want to take your piston ring, and I already put this other one on. There's two on this model. This is the 2002, and there's you'll see a little line here, and there's one over there, and then that's where you want this gap. So you're gonna slid it over, and you can see they'll move over that line though, so you gotta watch. You gotta make sure they stay in there. You wanna put a bunch of oil all in your cylinder and on your piston, and then take your rag out. So you're gonna open up your gasket kit, get this gasket out. Make sure you have a clean surface. Just like that. So you want to oil your cylinder. And then piston. Now that I got that down flush, you can can see pistons in, arrows forward.
And looks to be moving good with no interruption. So
you're gonna want to take your 14s that you took off. There's 4 of them, and start the whole process backwards.
Double Saturday too.
This circular gasket right here, and make sure your bumps are up. You'll see it kind of raises up, so you want those facing upwards. Get that on there like so. Cap. Slide that on. And then your 12 millimeters, 6 of them on the top. Your copper washers you want to put on the front. So next you want to put your power valve bracket on, and your 2 washers. Make sure the one with the channel lock thing on it is on the inside, and then hook up your cables, and then you're going to tighten these up to where they were before. Put your cap and gasket back on. Next, you're going to want to put this top engine mount back on, 14 and the 12s up top, and tighten them. So once you get that on, you got to do your radiators, tank, and then your pipe, and then your plastics and stuff. Alright, so just put our coolant in, and got our tank on and everything. Radiator's all tightened. Got the pipe on, and we're turning the fuel on, and choke. We got a heat cycle on this thing. Alright guys, there you go. Top end rebuild on a 2002 CR250. Everything went pretty good. Didn't really run into any hiccups or anything, so I'm pretty pumped that everything worked out on it. Hope you liked the video. Like the video, comment, and subscribe for more moto content. Thanks for watching.